Hello, Andre.
Hi, Andrew.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. A little bit
So are
tired,
you,
but it's the end of a working day, but I'm okay.
if you're tired, this means you're not nervous about the live stream that we're doing.
Not at all. So what
Are
about
you
you?
excited?
Yeah. Why not? It is the first experience of live streaming with our customers. So
I've been watching some YouTube videos about how to do live streams, and the people who are in this area, they're always so excited about it, especially the girls. Okay, so first I wanted to give a little bit of a background what this is and why we're doing this. So we did a few webinars last year, and those were about specific features of our products, usually video transport. And we had, some demos, people coming in with questions, things like that. And those were done by a guy called Alex. And I just wanted to share a quick story about who that was, who that is, and why he's not doing webinars anymore. So it's actually a cool story because Alex is we're in a fairly non-central city. About I think we're about 1 million, right? The whole area,
yeah,
and
something about that.
and we actually moved here several years ago from the mainland, and at some point we met this guy, and he's a broadcast engineer, and we're like, okay. And we sort of met once in a while, and then at some point we thought, okay, maybe we could do some kind of once in a while meetings to discuss broadcast and directions for us to go with. So he was taking part in that, and and he was like, he's like a world class broadcast engineer. So he's been doing things like the Olympics, the football cup, and he would always come in and share about his experience with the huge vendors and all the things that go wrong at big broadcasts. So he's a guy with quite serious expertise. And then COVID happened, and all the events were suddenly stopped. And we were at that time we were going mad with all the requests we were getting on about streaming and remote production. And I called him up and said, Alex, hey, since you're basically um, not getting any gigs at this point, would you like to join our team, and help us with this product? And he said, yeah, sure, why not? And so he helped us in many ways with understanding the market, with designing some of the features, and notably with webinars. He was also helping us a lot with customer conversations, because when a big customer would come in and he would say, "Yeah, I was using one of your trucks. I know what you're talking about." And then I think it was in the middle of last year, the events started coming in again, and is okay, guys, I'm back to work. I don't have time for this anymore. So yeah, so now we're trying to the goal is for us to restart the whole thing. So depending on what the feedback is going to be from our customers or from our viewers, we're going to adjust the subjects. Maybe at some point we're going to invite somebody for an interview and have a conversation about maybe our product, maybe the industry, maybe something else. And also, personally, I wanted to get the feel of what it is to do live streams, what it is to use um, a web-based platform for video production and for streaming. So yeah, that's it. What do you think about it?
Yeah, so we'll try to do the better webinars than the Alex do. So
Yeah, and
that's
Alex had like he did them. He had a fully equipped studio where he had all the lights and the vmixes and everything, and
yeah.
he would have a green screen, and all this looked kind of nice. So I think we admit that the first stream we do is going to be crap, especially the lights. Hopefully the
Well, I
internet
don't know.
doesn't fall off. Yeah, but let's just hope the sound is okay and it's okay to listen to it. All right, so we don't really have a plan, but they're just some subjects that we wanted to discuss. The first, I think, would be to sort of reflect on 2021 from a technical and support standpoint. And I think Andre will cover this because he's the guy who runs the support department and in many ways product development. And then we can discuss the features of the latest video transport release and what our plans are for the video SDK in 2022. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
So about the previous year, well, what could I say? It was quite interesting year. There was a lot of challenges for development team, for support team. The most important thing that I could that I think about it right now is that we have a lot of progress in stability of SDK. So we improved a lot of things that now doesn't crash or doesn't provide any unpredictable behavior. So that is the main goal, I think, of the previous year. Of course, we have a lot of features. I have a lot of bug fixes. That's always, yeah. We have added the SEO devices support. We improved the encoding and decoding things. All these were made, but the main goal of the previous year that we have a lot of improvements in stability of product. So that's something is, at my opinion, that something is right now could be just like a hold for the next year. So we have it quite stable, and I think that we're going to concentrate on the performance. So yeah, stability is okay right now, but what about performance? And this is the main question of the next year. Also, from the support point of view, I could say that there are a lot of questions to the scenarios of our clients. So if we will go back something about 2 or 3 years ago, these scenarios were quite simple, and the hardware which was used for those scenarios was not so complicated as right now. So each time when a new customer or maybe an old one came to support and just say, okay, guys, I need to do the following things, the following scenarios, I need those kind of features. And, 3 years ago, it was something that is able to be done for me, because I know in an SDK, it's able to be done something about maybe a day or two. Just a proof of concept application for that. So right now, it could require a lot of time for me to think how it could be done. And the most important question, should it be done with our SDK? Or maybe I could advise something more specific, more suitable for these scenarios. Because a lot of clients or a lot of customers trying to solve a lot of different issues and different implementation that actually is not quite relative to an SDK. So in most cases, we're able to provide solution for all scenarios, maybe not only with an SDK, maybe with the conjunction with another third-party applications, but the final scenario is something that we could provide, and me and my support team able to advise. So the main idea about the previous year with the support that this scenario is going to be more complicated. The hardware have to be more powerful, and that's why actually the performance question is the critical right now, because everything's trying to go to the cloud. Not everything, but a lot of scenarios trying to move the production into the cloud, and the power on the cloud is always money. It's always a lot of costs. So people trying to get maximum from the hardware or clouds that they get. Also, the GPUs is quite expensive things right now. So it's not so easy to buy GPU even if you have money.
Yeah, they're not even available, right?
Yeah. So, and that's why we need to find, and we are finding a way to get the maximum from an old GPUs. Trying to provide a lot of encoding on decoding stuff. So that's quite interesting actually, but it's something that we're going to concentrate in the next year and provide the best of performance with the current hardware.
All right. What about yeah, go on.
Yeah, no, I just a final thought about it. Just it's not only the SDK thing. I think that the whole IT goes that way. Everyone trying to get the maximum right now, right here from and all hardwares, and use minimal available resources in the clouds because it is like money and cost.
Yeah, but cloud I understand, but what about the general use cases? Is that the same process? People want more power from their equipment?
It is the question about the requirements to the project actually. So the project could be developed maybe 2 years ago, and the clients, I mean the end user of an application that was developed based on our SDK, for example, 2 years ago they were need something. Let's suppose that they were need 5 encoding streams, maybe 10 decoding streams, etc. So something like that, and then in the past year, the requirements is growing with the clients, and now.
Yeah, but do you understand why that is happening? I mean, why is that because of the introduction of 8K or the more global adoption of 4K, or what's happening?
It's quite interesting question because I think that actually the market is growing in the way that it required a lot of things with an old hardware, if you know what I mean. So the new ways to encode, to decode, the new ways to provide a video production stuff. For example, the same StreamYard that we're using right now. So it's actually mixing two videos over the background and streaming at the same time to Facebook, YouTube, etc. So and all this stuff is going to be available online. It doesn't require any experience with that. So I think that the end users also growing in the scope of their own market, and they're trying to provide the best solution for their end user customers. So that's why it's happening, because if you could provide a playout system, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago with the free encoding process on the i7 CPU, and you have a lot of resources on your server when you apply, even when your playout is loading. And right now, it's something that your customer, okay, I have the same server that I have 2 years ago or maybe 3 years ago, but right now I want to increase it to wherever, to YouTube, streaming, all this kind of stuff. And I'm asking you to provide me this because there are a lot of solutions that able to provide something similar or able to provide with the less powerful workstations. That's why it's happening. That's my opinion. Maybe some guys who actually provide a playout,
Yeah.
have another opinion, but from the NSDK point of view, it looks like that.
Yeah, yeah. Our view is somewhat fragmented all the time because we get the feedback from customers who sell to their own clients. So we don't always have the direct feedback from the clients and from the market itself. I wanted to wrap this up with a question on the GPU availability in the cloud. So with GPUs becoming more expensive and less available, is this a similar situation in the cloud, or they're just painfully expensive? Or is there also a shortage in availability?
Actually, I don't think that there was a situation when you want to pay for a AWS for additional GPUs and you have an answer like, oh, sorry, we don't have any GPU right now.
Yeah.
So I think that the cloud doesn't have this limitation. I don't know why, actually. Maybe because they initially had a lot of GPUs. Maybe they have the direct sales contacts with the NVIDIA guys, whatever. No,
I suspect Amazon is probably on the top list of customers for NVIDIA.
Yeah,
would be an obvious.
Of course. Yeah. So the limitation of GPUs are actually, I think that everybody understood that it's happening with the regular end users like you and me.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to buy something new and powerful, you need to wait and maybe pay something much higher than expected.
And do you think the chip shortage also played a role in this? Because that
maybe
seems to have affected everything.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think we should take some of the questions and at the same time test how this thing works. So Benjamin is asking what we're using for the stream, and you just replied to this, but I'll say that again. So we're using a platform called StreamYard. That's a pretty young company from the United States, and it's basically like a Google Meet, but with options to stream out to several destinations, and it also integrates all the comments from other platforms. So I see that Benjamin has posted a comment on YouTube. And so I just had to basically hit a button and it appeared on the stream. And it requires basically absolutely no setup, no training. You just upload a background, put in your logo, which we did a couple of days ago for testing. And that's it. And then you create a broadcast and you say, okay, I want it to go to Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. That all gets configured with a few clicks. And then you can pre-schedule the events on those platforms, and then you start basically streaming. That's it. So if this thing takes off and we have you guys interested in what we're doing, so we're probably going to invest a little bit of effort into better planning, better lighting, something to make the stream maybe better mix. I'll have to listen to how this sounds after we finish the broadcast. Yeah, and the thing that I like about it is that once the stream is once we finish streaming, the video stays on YouTube as a piece of content, and it can be replayed. And if it has replay value, if there's something valuable in it, we can keep it there and have people visiting and viewing it. So no uploads, no editing, no post-production needed. Okay. So what do you want to talk next about?
Do you have any questions?
There is a question about video transport, so maybe we can jump to that. And do you want to take this one, or do you want me to do it?
I think that we could do this both. You can talk about it just like you see it, and I will talk about it from the tech part.
Terrible if we have different views on that.
Yeah. So we will know about it right now.
Finally, yeah. So at this point, we by overhaul, does that mean like redesign?
Yeah,
I suspect it means that. Yeah. So unfortunately, at this moment, we do not have the plans to do it because we've decided to focus our efforts on the more high-end side of the customer segments that we serve. And the customers that we speak to, they usually don't tell us that the interface sucks. So we know it's not terribly perfect, and it's overcomplicated, and video transport and VT receiver should probably be merged together into one application, because we have a theory that would make more sense. But the thing that our customers are requesting most at this time is give us an API. And so that is what we're doing right now, and hopefully, I think we have a chance of releasing that in Q1, right?
Yeah. Actually, the VT API is something that I would like to talk and discuss.
Yeah, and then another thing that we're very serious about is stability of the product. And if you've been following our releases last year, those have not been there. There haven't been too many of them, and that is because most of the work we did was about refactoring and stabilizing the product. And to the best of my knowledge, we've actually progressed greatly in this direction. So the product is quite stable and quite reliable at this time. And the connection to the UI here is that if we go into rebuilding the UI, we're going to sort of cancel out a lot of that work, because integrating a new UI will lead to a lot of new code, and new code will lead to new problems. So we sort of put that idea on halt for a moment to get a better understanding of where the market is going and what our customers need. Over to you, Andre.
Yeah. So the question about the UI is actually interesting. Yeah, I agree that we are not going to change it right now. Maybe someday in the future, I don't know. But the video VT API. So what is it, and how does it relate to user interface? So the VT API is something that will give you an ability to build not only the user interface, but actually an application which will able to talk with the backend of video transport via the socket I/O interface. So what does it mean? Basically, you could build your own web-based application, or I don't know, C# VPF application that will able to do all the stuff that current admin dashboard able to provide for you. So you can control the streams, get the streams counts, stop streaming, stop publishing, etc. Start output, end output, all this kind of stuff. So for those who want to use something, integrate maybe in their own company websites or in their own company applications, or for those who already have some video pipelines, I mean the playouts. It's not necessary to be based on our SDKs. So let's suppose that you already have some production environment with your own pipelines, hardware, softwares, your engineers, etc. So, and you are using video transport right now. You will be able to build something new or integrate the video transport into your workflow in the way how you need it, or in the way how your engineers think it's better to work with your current scenario. So it's actually VT API is the list of commands that you're able to send to our backend, I mean the server of video transport, and receive an answer from that server. That's it. That's quite easy. I know. I think that many of you guys know how it works with Socket I/O. So it's actually what is it and how it was born. I mean, how we design it. It's actually was already designed, and something that we were using for our developments, for our Windows applications, for our admin dashboards, for our backends. All this stuff already was implemented. So right now we're tuning it, adding some features, remove something, trying to test it, documentation things, all this kind of stuff. When it will be done, we will release it, and you could build it on your own in wherever you need. Of course, in most cases it's interesting for those who are actually developing something, or for those who has a development team or web developers. So for those, I think that's quite great idea, and a lot of abilities will be provided with that API. For those who just don't like our current video transport user interface, yeah, maybe there's something is not so perfect, but the video is published and the video is received.
It works.
Yeah, with the low possible delay in most cases. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And do you also want to mention some of the features that came out in the latest release?
No, we didn't discuss it yet. So the latest release, we have a lot of changes. Of course, the stabilities that you already mentioned, but
yeah,
the main things that was, let's call it reinvent or remade, it was the things that were done on user control access system. So we add an ability to add the groups of different users in the scope of your current licenses. For those who were using the previous version of video transfer, they should remember the things like the partner alliances, and it was really not something that was quite handy to use, and you have to send these alliances for those who going to be connected to your system, to your videos, and it was quite hard to explain how to use it, especially for people who doesn't know anything about video and audio production things. So we deprecate these kind of things, and now you're able to create different different users in the scope of your licenses. That's like administrator, the owner, and the user. So why this was made? Because there are a lot of scenarios when you have to share your licenses with those who you didn't actually know. So when you need to receive some stream from a stranger, let's say it like that, because you doesn't know anything about these people or those companies. So, and you don't want to share your own video transport licenses because first of all, you're afraid that it could be stolen, but that's actually not a big problem. I think the most biggest problem that you starting afraid that they could get an access to the videos that you're actually trying to publish or transmit between different points. So this new user system was designed for fix those kind of issues. So it's quite an easy. There are a lot of documentation about that. It's quite an easy to create additional users, share the channels within them in the scope of one license, and grant the access to different parts of videos, different access rights, different. Well, so it's like a user management system that was made.
Yeah, and then
yeah.
And then we released port range configuration and TCP UDP pass-through.
Yeah, this is something that the major thing, for my opinion, was the user access right, because it was a lot of works, a lot of tests, and
yeah, that took us a lot of effort on the back end as well.
Yeah, also there was some technical things that was improved. First of all, I would like to mention about the WebRTC, and it was improved, redesigned, and this WebRTC version going to be included in SDK, like WebRTC 2.0.
Yeah, when's that gonna happen, by the way?
Yeah, almost. This is almost done. I know that you heard about it. Yeah, I think that we will provide a better version with the March release, with an official release that's going to be.
If that doesn't happen, we're just going to delete this video, right?
Yeah. Nobody knows.
All right. So
Yeah, wait. About the video transport, new things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a new WebRTC version that we have some improvements, and the most interesting part that we improved an SRT connection.
Hmm.
I don't know, should I talk about deeper technical things, how it was improved? But anyway, there was a new ICE implementation that was made from WebRTC that was improved and integrated in SRT.
Hmm.
And according to my test, the situation where we are not able to connect directly between point to point and have to use some SRT gateways, which also was improved or whatever, this situation was reduced. So something like with an old version in test connections, like a 10 test connections between different points, on this 5, 6 connections were made directly with P2P. So with the latest version, it's like
So
a
that
10.
gave customers better connectivity, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Okay. Yeah. So you ready to move on?
Yeah, sure, because we could talk about it, I don't know,
Yeah,
10
obviously.
hours.
You
What
were
was made.
before the stream. You told me you don't know what you're going to talk about.
Yeah,
Well, now it
but
seems you have an epiphany or something.
yeah.
Okay, so Michael is asking about NDI bridge over WAN, and do you understand this question? Because I honestly don't.
The transport of the call to video transparent. Yeah, but we also test an NDI breach actually.
Can you explain the question how you see it first? Because I'm not sure I understand it.
I think that Michael Mitchell was asking about the NDI breach.
Yeah.
Should be used like a main transport in the video transport. Because right
Mm.
now we have an SRT in WebRTC, and he's asking about what about aiding the NDI breach?
Okay, I get it.
Well, that's something that could be actually discussed, but I don't see any reasons why you don't want to use the NDI source, which was output from receiver instance, directly with NDI bridge. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
and also
also test an NDI bridge.
yeah,
Um, the thing is that in case when you have a good internet connection and everything is okay,
yeah.
I don't, I'm not able to say that the NDI breach is better than video transport or video transport is better than NDI breach. According to my test, there it's slightly little different between those. But in case when something is happening with your network at publisher or at the receiver side, here where the questions actually come out. Because we are using encoding. Yeah, I know that NDI breach also using encoding. They are using NDI HX under the hood for
Mm-hmm.
streaming the video. But according to my test, maybe you could do your own. In case when network goes down or something is wrong with the network bandwidth, the video transport able to provide uh, the stable transmission. Meanwhile, the NDI breach, yeah, it still provides an NDI sources, but it could be freeze it or miss it frames or FPS is going down at the receiver side.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but NDI breach is actually interesting thing. So we definitely will discuss it, but at the current moment, I'm not quite sure that could be used as the main transport in our applications.
Yeah, and I also want to encourage everybody to send us an email if you've had any feedback with NDI Bridge, and let us know how that has been working for you and what you think. And Michael, if you have if there's an option for you to send us a more detailed request or explain what exactly you meant, that would also be appreciated. Okay, so there was also a very long question from Freedom Media Productions. So this is the first part. Been using my 5-channel for about a year. Would like to see perhaps an explanation on how to get the guest stream to show multiple channels to the guest. In other words, channel is active, you copy the guest link to send to your remote source, they activate the guest stream, but they only see what original stream you sent them. What if you wanted to send them a different channel without having to drop the current guest connection to only have to resend a new guest link?
Yeah, I think that the question was about how to switch the source, which the guest actually receiving right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I got it right, it's quite an easy to do with an NDI. Let's suppose that you have an SDI source, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's suppose that you have 3 SDI sources. That will be better. You have 3 different SDI sources with camera 1, camera 2, and camera 3. Okay, you have a remote web guest, and you want to receive the web guest video, and at the same time send your SDI source number 1. That's quite easy to do right now. You just publish an SDI, copy the web guest link, send it to your remote guest, and that's all. But what if you want to switch between SDI sources? So in such manner that you are not interrupt any receiver session from your guest, but just like a switching the source on the remote user screen between SDI1, SDI2, SDI3. And it's quite an easy to do if you will output your SDI sources via NDI. So let's suppose that we have an NDI source that was published as the main studio source to your web guest, and now you just need to switch your NDI source like between SDI1, SDI2, SDI3. So your switching between sources will be made on on NDI stage, not on the video transport stage, or not on the by the video transport stage, I mean not on the publishing or republishing something. You just need to prepare the source that could be switchable on its lower level.
Yeah, like a workaround on the channel routing level, sort of.
Yeah. Or if you go down to SDI hardware, you can switch actually the SDI cable. Like a switch it out, switch it one U, something like that. The same with an NDI, but of course,
yeah,
you can do it.
Okay, let's just hope we at least pointed in the right direction for.
Yeah.
Okay, are you ready for a really tough one? It can
Sure.
be painful.
Why not?
CG.
Yeah, my favorite.
Yeah, I know you appreciate it.
Animation triples.
Big update in character generator. In and out transitions for graphics and image objects, plus special in and out transitions for ticker items. Timeline-based CG update. Well, of course, it's a question from India. They are the most. Jyotis, nice to see you again.
Hi, Jyotis.
This is the most heavy CG users are in India.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe yes. I don't know. There are a lot of guys who are using actual CG with a lot of different scenarios. So yeah, I'm also looking for that big update for character generation, and I hope we will be done. We will be let's say that we are going to start it during this year, but as I already mentioned, the first, the main vector of development will be the performance. Yeah, I know that CG also need some performance improvements, but this is something that I would going to be investigate in the second half of the year. So yeah,
so
this definitely should be done. Yeah, I know we already talked about that.
Yeah. Okay. Dragon Sue is asking if we're going to support Unreal Engine. We've been discussing this for a while.
Yeah, but actually, maybe you could share a little bit more information about what do you mean by supporting Unreal Engine, because as far as I know, Unreal Engine support an NDI sources, so it could receive an NDI and send it back.
Have you actually played around with it?
Did you try? Did you ask? Have I tried?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
It works?
You know, I didn't develop any Visual Studio or any video game, but the quick test with sending the NDI source, receive it in Unreal Engine and send it back, it's actually working, at least at my local host. I don't know, but I think it will
Well,
work.
usually my understanding is that, well, at least with the customers that I've spoken to, right, they want to have the video go into Unreal Engine so that you can play around with the video source in the engine and then export the video from Unreal Engine in sort of a live stream way. Do you have the same understanding?
Yeah, in most cases, at least the records that I have with the Unreal, it's creating the virtual studios. So when you have a 3D scene where everything is already, I mean, all the 3D stuff, lighting, shading, all these things were done. So you just need to receive a video and put it somewhere in your scene, like it is like a studio. I mean, the real TV channel or TV studio, something like that. So yeah, we're ready to support an NDI, or I mean the Unreal Engine, but I have to understand what kind of support we're looking for. Because right now, for me, all scenarios that I suppose you want to implement with Unreal Engine already could be done. So if you could shed a light about what actually is not available right now in the Unreal Engine in conjunction with our SDK, I will be glad to know about it.
Okay. Yeah, actually, we do encourage everyone to send us an email to support at Medialooks with any real life use cases for Unreal Engine, because this is something we are thinking about. Okay, practical question from Element Systems from Serbia.
Yeah, so the beta release is something that I want to publish during a year. I know that I promised to publish it at the beginning of the February, but you know, there was some things that I want to fix before upload the official beta version, and an official release going to be available at the first numbers of March, at the first week of March, I suppose, because you know it will depend on the testing stage. So the beta release should be available during the week, and the official release should be available during a month.
Okay,
something like that.
Okay, back to performance.
Yeah. The good question about preview, because this is actually the first thing of refactor process that is going that is actually already started, but officially with the sprints, with the task on the Kanban board, all these kind of things going to be started with the next release. And the preview object is the main bottleneck in performance right now, involved in the CPU and GPU mode. So yeah, that's definitely what is going to be started in during a month, and actually already started with the developers who actually, you know, when they have a free time, let's say it like that.
Okay.
So yeah, Carlos, that definitely will be done.
Okay. Connected question. I think this is also probably about the video SDK. So, yeah, because it's from Logosys. So we have a, let me try doing this. We have a blog where we post kind of plans for the next quarter. So it's possible to go there and to have a quick read on what are exactly the features that we plan for the next release. And after that, my understanding is that once the team sits down and begins to tackle the performance problem, they will decompose that into smaller tasks and that will give us a more exact roadmap for 2002. Is that correct?
Yeah. So there are actually a lot of things that I would like to do in the next year. So a lot of features and a lot of refactoring things like a CG that we were discussed before, the preview, GPU pipeline in the whole implementation that it is like it
Mm-hmm.
is working right now. I think that there are a lot of things to do with the GPU in overall, uh, but the preview, the CG is quite big task, So, and all these kind of things should be implemented and actually do not broke anything else. So the main plan is to reduce the performance. And actually, if we will have a time, we will add some additional features. So this is the main roadmap.
Understood. Hello, Jan, again. We spoke today, and I would love to see a mixed mode and performance to support CPU and GPU mode in the same process. Are there any plans to support this in the future? Isn't
Well,
that the advanced GPU level that you've told me about recently, or is that different?
no, I think that Jan asking about the way to mix the GPU pipeline with the CPU pipeline in the scope of the same process.
Mm-hmm.
So right now it's able to be done only with the different application instances. So the first application could be used the CPU mode, the second one the GPU mode, but uh, the same application not able to create one object in the CPU scope and another one with the GPU. So actually, I'm not able to promise anything about um, mixed modes for with different objects, but the mixing on GPU while you're working in the CPU mode is something that is possible but doesn't implement it yet. So for
Mm-hmm.
example, right now you can work in the CPU mode and at the same time scale your video in the GPU. So this is something that's already done. And for example, the interlace video conversion have a better quality in case of GPU. So that's why even for those who actually working only in CPU, enable the scaling of in the GPU. Wherever. Um, Answering on the question is actually we do not planning to support the different modes in the scope of one application, but the different operations like mixing, yes, that's something that could be done. It's something that could be discussed, and depending on developers, that could be done.
Okay. Ben is asking if we plan to do intercom feature for the webcast video transport.
Well, as far as I know, there is no such features right now. There is no any things like that. But it will be nice to get the whole scenario. Where do you need it and why do you need it?
I guess the scenario we can imagine it. It's if we're inviting Ben into this production interface, and we want to have a pre-chat with him via a separate device or something like that,
Yeah, but
separate microphone.
yeah, I'm asking about the scenario because maybe we could try to use a web guest or something like that. You know.
Yeah, well, the my understanding of intercom and video transport is that people usually do that by using the other channels, like the fourth and fifth channel, the third and fourth channel for an intercom. Is that right?
Yeah, that's something that could be used, but that's why I was asking about this scenario because, the Intercom could be implemented with the different ways.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So
the easiest one just using the web guest is like a separate source, separate receiving, and someone, I don't remember actually who it was, but someone just opened it on the mobile phones and, using it like an intercom for guys who actually in the field and they need to provide some comments to him. Yeah.
So Ben, go on.
And another one is to use the different channels in the scope of one source. Let's suppose that the main video have 4 channels, and we just put the intercom audio in like an external device in the publisher and push it into the 5 and 6 channel. So at the receiver side, you receive all 6 channels, but you just split it.
Yeah. So Ben, please send us an email and we will do our best to help you out. And Moss from Cardis.
What about NMOS implementation?
You're not allowed to Google things when people ask questions on the live stream.
Yeah, I think that we already discussed it. It's something that was a request to some specific hardware, so you want to put it or like a firmware into some devices. So it's not implemented right now, and actually we should talk it via the support tickets or maybe have a call, because I don't actually understood where that could be. I don't know what kind of scenarios you want to implement with that. And I was talking about video transport. That's definitely not implemented yet. And if it is question about the future plans, I'm not quite sure that we are going to do something like that.
Well, because we don't understand the request, at least. That could be the reason. So again, please send us an email. That's important. Okay, API plans and platform recipes from a virtual machine in AWS or any other cloud. So remote control of applications built on top of the SDK if they're running in the cloud, is that the question?
Yeah, the question about the REST API. But do you want to be implemented like an SDK, like a part of an SDK? I don't see any problems to implement it like on your own, because you have an SDK which do all video audio things, right? So put the REST API, REST implementation on top of it and just use it. It's something that I don't think that we're going to implement these kind of things, because the things that could be done on your own, I mean, not related to an SDK, I think that should be done on your own by your developers in the way how they want it to do.
Yeah, so
and in the way how you
the video SDK product has a focus on, it sort of simplifies the complexity of video into a simpler API for developers to use. And what we should do, in my opinion, is focus on delivering that core value. And if we start building, extra balls and whistles like statistics or something, we had almost a fight over statistics and integrating Google Analytics into the videos again. I was like, what? How is that connection to the core competence of the product and of the company? Okay, this one could take a longer answer, but we need to manage the time. I think that we're almost streaming for 1 hour already. Have you noticed? So why is DVB a separate license? And Rakesh, I think, sort of assumes that DVB is a walk in the park technology, which it definitely isn't.
Yeah, so the question why it is require additional licenses? Well, yeah, because this is how our sales thinks it should require. Now, okay, if serious, there actually Yeah, you're right. We are actually adding the null packets for make a bit rate more constant. That's right. But there are also additional things were done on the top of FFmpeg implementation. And these custom things uh, give you an ability to use our DVB with hardware decoders, which is quite sensitive to bitrate and PCR errors. So that's why it's require additional licenses. And actually, the licenses which is used for DVB actually provide you uh, an SRT streaming. So when you have a license for DVB, it's not called it like a DVB license. It's just like a streaming pack license, and these licenses give you ability to use an SRT and DVB.
Yeah, and
That's
with DVB, I just wanted. Do you remember how big the effort was to make that compliant with hardware receivers and analyzers?
yeah. That's actually that was a lot of work because we were trying different implementations from different vendors. First of all, we were trying to work with Nablet codecs, and then we will try to use. I actually don't remember who it was. Some other codecs, and then we will get the hardware for DVB testing, and I think that we also one of our developers was hired just for the DVB investigation. That's something I was just remember right now. So we have an
Yeah, yeah,
additional guy for this kind of tasks.
yeah, yeah, yeah. From a very specialized company. So
Yeah,
it took
we'll stay it in secret.
yeah,
Right.
it took quite an effort to develop it. So I actually believe that. There's also from a marketing standpoint, a DVB compatibility sort of means that the customer is going high end. So that sort of justifies the pricing in our view. Okay, Michael is asking about direct take, screen capture vmix call, that creating file splits like vmix multi-coder does. Do you understand this one?
Without creating file splits. Yeah, I don't quite understand about the file splits without creating the file splits, but no, we definitely will not support directly the Linux call. But I think if you have a Linux, it's able to receive the Linux call and output it like an NDI source or like a direct show source. So, and you can use the source for direct take, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely we will not implement the native support of the Linux. I mean the Linux call, but there always could be done like with the Linux in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, native support no, but any workarounds like with the Linux or any other kind of things
Okay.
definitely could be done right now.
So there's still questions left. I think if we have more time, we would get back to
Actually,
it.
I wasn't supposed that we would have a lot of questions. Actually, I was thinking that we was just stating hello, hello,
I
and
told you.
okay,
You should have
nobody
watched.
here.
You should have watched the old webinars.
Okay,
Okay. Again, plans to implement features from DC in DT, SDI to NDI conversion. We would like to reduce number of discrete software interfaces as much as possible. Yeah, I understand that. I understand that request, but we're also trying to stay with the approach of making the products themselves modular and simple, because eventually this is why I think Michael was asking about the video transport interface. That's why interfaces get complex when developers try to push in everything in there. So I think the answer to this is no, Andre, for the time being. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely not right now.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, this thing could be done via SDK. If you will using our SDK and you have a developer, so you are a developer on your own, you can do whatever you want. You can do the direct take with any user interface or without it at all. Or I don't know
Not
where
everybody is
you.
a developer, Andre.
Yeah, I know it, but just for case, it's quite an easy to use an SDK. Whatever. Let's go to next
Yeah.
question.
Okay. Okay. Um, I think this one is also um, quite technical about DC. Timeline for audio de-embedding in direct convert, taking an MDI source and sending its audio to an AC or WDM device.
Well, the timeline, I think that the next direct take release or direct convert release will recheck it. It's something that could be done actually. The problem is to insert it and retest it. So the main thing that we should spend time for is testing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we always discuss it and always decide, should we include it right now and spend some time for tests, and what we'll do if we will find that we broke something. So so the timeline is the next. I think that the next release, but this feature is maybe could appear earlier. It will depends on our testing stage
Mm-hmm.
and our QA engineers.
Mm-hmm. So does that mean that this is something that we're actually looking in?
Yeah. If you want to know the details about it, is this is something is actually able to be done because the internal objects actually
Mm.
support. And the only thing that we should done for provide this feature for our end users is actually adding the user interface. So add additional buttons to user interface, um, some maybe text fields, etc.
Yeah.
Because the core of the product able to do that. This is the way. This
Because
is
it's
why. Yeah,
based on
because
the
I,
SDK.
I was talking about the testing of UI and all these kind of things.
Mm-hmm. All right. Any plans to finally support GPU indexed in DVB streaming in
Yeah,
multiple GPUs configurations?
yeah. I think we're
Bring
talking
them out.
about choosing the GPU index for encoding. Uh, yeah, it's actually should be supported, but there is some issues with that, and we have it in our roadmap. I will not promise you that this will be done in the March release. I mean, the release which is going to be published in the March will not contain the fix. Definitely will not. But during the March sprint, I think that we will try to provide it for you
Mm-hmm.
because there are more than one customer asking about that. Yeah, so the priority of that problem is getting higher and higher.
This is a follow-up to our
Yeah.
discussion with Jan earlier.
Yeah, I think that we could discuss it detailed via the support ticket or maybe during a call. But so I would like to repeat that right now we are not support to provide the CPU or GPU uh, mode switching on the object level. So we will not able to use the reader, I don't know, in like with the CPU mode and the live in the GPU mode in the scope of the same in the scope of the same application in the same process. But what could be done is that when, for example, when you're trying to mix the frames, right, or do MF overlay, we could add additional parameter that will be passed to the like like MF overlay GPU true or something like that, and you will still be able to work in CPU mode, and the whole application will work in the CPU mode, but this particular operation for mixing will be done on the GPU. So what will be is, it's not like you will work in the GPU in the whole. It's just like internally SDK, when it will receive a frame for mixing or overlaying, it will be pass it to GPU and then back to CPU. And from your point of view, nothing happened. You just put additional parameter to the method. That was what I'm talking about. Not that we will split the objects between two different modes.
Okay, hopefully
But I
we've
think
covered
that
this.
the results will be the same that you want to achieve with the different objects in different modes. So
Okay.
we could discuss it anyway.
There is another one which you might like. ST2110 from Pera, Low Pera.
I need more information about what we are. I remember that we had some AJA issues, but these issues was with one particular system and wasn't able to reproduce at our test environments. So it will be nice if you could share more information about the future that we'd like to see. That will be definitely help us to understood how many users need it and what kind of benefits they will.
So I guess the situation is that after we've announced and did something on ST2110, we didn't have that much feedback about it. Is that right?
Yeah. Actually, I I don't remember actually how many people use it right now, but according to the support system, there is something like about maybe 5 or 10 users who were trying to use it, who were made some tests, who were just like because they have. I think that just because they have an STA based cards, and but I don't remember users who actually do a production kind of things with that. So yeah, please share with me the features that you're looking for, and we will discuss it.
Okay. I think we can take this quick one. Supportive Composer. I think it's M Composer that is.
Yeah, that the composer is deprecated.
Yeah,
so
like several
you're
years
able
ago.
to use it right now as is. So if you have an M platform, you can use it wherever you would like. But we do not provide any feature, any fixes for that object, and we do not. Sorry, and we will not provide any improvements in that. So basically, it's provided as is. But we already talked about the Unreal Engine. So I think that if you need to implement something like the composer stuff, you can use the Unreal Engine for that. At least that's how I think the users using N Composer. They need to create something like a scene with different kind of videos. So the same could be done with Unreal Engine, and I'm not quite sure about Unreal right now, but as far as I remember, it's free until you have something about any. I mean, the money. It's free. Well, it will depends on your company, how big your company. If you're not too big, I mean, about the money per year, then you can use it for free. But anyway, you should discuss it with the Unreal guys. Check out the website.
And another question from Michael. Michael gets the gold medal for asking most of the questions on this stream. Thanks for that. So multi-viewer product. I think that depends on what kind of multi-viewer, what for, right?
Yeah, it's. I have a lot of ideas what could be means by multi-view.
Yeah. We have a prototype of a multi-viewer app for one of the customers, which we quickly build in connection with video transport.
Yeah. So
because can you explain the feature set of that thing?
Yeah, I think it's quite easy to explain if I will say that we add the mixer to video transport. So
Yeah.
you could mix different sources on output. In the publisher, you can, for example, we have 5 sources. We could mix it to one source and publish it like a multi-view, and receiver will receive that multi-view source. And the same true for receiver instance. You could receive different sources from multiply publishers or from one publisher, whatever, and mix all this received source to one multi-view before output to SDI, NDI.
Yeah, but that's not a typical multi-viewer, because a multi-viewer is usually, several windows with different meters and parameters of the videos, which are separate, right? So
yeah. Right now we don't think we didn't discuss any kind of multi-view product. I mean, the extended multi-view product. Okay. But maybe that's something we should discuss, by the way.
So about the second question, other products that are on the horizon. So the view that we have right now is to focus more on products that are either for developers or for like advanced video engineers. So one of the products that is currently in the works is the working title is Video Gateway. It is an application which is probably going to be cross-platform from the very first release, which can receive streams and sort of restream them to multiple destinations. So if you have any ideas of how you would like to use that, actually also send us an email, because we're looking for people to discuss the use cases so that we don't develop something that nobody needs. So is there anything you want to add on the video gateway?
Well, I think that the video gateway is something that should be discussed with additional webinar, because there are a lot of things that
means you can talk for an hour about it.
Yeah, why not? Of course, if there will be questions about how I can use it.
All right. So WPF. Is that also about the video SDK performance?
No. That is the question about the way, well, how to use the WPF preview. Well, I think that we already have that discussion, conversation via the email support ticket. I will not able to explain how to correctly use it by my words, because in short, the last update of the support ticket was that I provide for you the sample with the 2 separated previews with the D3D image. And I would like you to try to reproduce the problem that you had with your application with that approach, because the D3D image is the approach that should be used in deploy, and we advise to use it. There are also the media element approach that also could be used in WPF, but there are a list of restrictions with the media element that we have in WPF. That's why we advise to use the 3D image. So I think that we could, particularly about that question, we will continue in our ticket, because I don't know how to explain it. We need the source code about it.
Okay. All right. So I suggest we wrap it up. What do you think of the experiment?
Yeah, that was quite fun. I didn't expect that there were going to be a lot of questions. I don't know. I don't see how many people actually viewing us right now. I don't have it at my StreamYard interface.
Neither do I.
Oh.
But obviously the stream is
Millions.
working, and the comments are working because the comments have been coming in from both YouTube, LinkedIn, and I haven't seen any comments from Facebook, so maybe Facebook didn't work. No, Facebook also worked. So the streams were up, which is good.
Yeah. So I was actually surprised about the count of people who were asking.
So that's I guess we need to thank everybody for joining.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Just thank everybody for their questions and participation and support.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Let's see you at the next webinar.
Thank you.
Wherever it's going to be.
All right. So
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.